Hello, how you doing today? This is Ferrante Frazier, Dr. Ferrante Frazier. For y'all who don't realize that we really understand health at a teaching point. A lot of people don't understand that word doctor, that is actually a teacher. It doesn't have to be someone with a little scope around his neck or around here putting pills down your throat and different things of that nature to be a doctor. All one have to do is be a master of his field of knowledge, and he's at a doctorate level. So we are at a teaching level of hygienic lifestyle habits, and that's why we promote holistic health and natural hygiene. We want to thank you for tuning into our show today. We have a great show. We have one of our guests, a returning guest, who is all about helping people love one another and build healthy relationships. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the Love Alchemist. So he'll be up here in just a little bit. Well, before we get in, we want to thank ATR Media for this platform to get out and teach health among our community, amongst the nation, because we need help. We need people who are going to awaken the people out of their slumber. And this whole platform been doing it. They have many shows that's coming up. I think 13 shows altogether, and many more that's going to be coming about in the near future to help awakening mankind to a level of higher conscious state, higher level of awareness. Get out of that sleeping, slumbering state and know that there's, a purpose that we all need to be doing and how we can live a more healthy and happier life when we unite together and be more peaceful and meet more harmony. That's what this whole platform is, bringing back oneness and uniteness to everyone, if that's even a word. We're making up words up here too, but it's all with a good definition. So check out our show. Those who are up here right now notice that we're here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. You can share with anyone on your platform. We don't mind. Matter of fact, we encourage you to, hit the like button right now on ATR Media, either on the Facebook or go to YouTube. It's streaming live there as well. All things relevant Black media. So you can learn a lot from our shows about how to take care of yourself properly. This show is called Natural as Elf. Natural as Elf is here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock with some topic towards health. And we got a lot of great shows ahead. So we want you to make sure you tell friends about us where they can learn about how to correct their issues in their life as well using the natural approach. Before we get in this, we want to talk a little bit about nature and the relationship with nature. Now, this show is going to be about relationships. And before we get into that, because we're going to bring the Love Alchemist in a minute, and the Love Alchemist, he helped with relationships between couples and helping couples become more united through his conditions of health. He has these conditions that he's going to talk about. But before we go to the conditions about bringing, men and women together in a more congenial relationship, let's talk about our relationship with nature. Because mankind as a whole have to have a good relationship with nature. And we notice that we're suffering a lot in our world today, and a lot of us don't understand what's going on. We're thinking that, the rain is just coming down hard for no reason, that the earthquakes are coming about for no reason, that the tsunamis are coming about with no reason, that it's getting extremely cold in different areas where it would normally be hot during a certain season, or it's being hot in an area where it would normally be cold in a certain season. So for some reason, we're out of our relationship with nature. Nature is not in a good rapport with mankind right now. And we don't realize as mankind that we create nature from our own self. It's like, for example, if we read in Genesis 3:17, it said, "Curse is the ground for thy sake." The ground was cursed because of a sin that Adam and Eve did, you know. So here it is, our sins curse our nature. Whatever we're doing as men and women, we bring about torture and destruction and cataclysm in our nature, all because of how we're acting, our relationship with nature. So it behooves us, if we want to have a heaven here on earth, we want to have ground turned back to gold and silver and diamonds and not dust that can't even grow our fruits and vegetables to a point where we can regenerate ourselves properly. We have to get back in tune with nature. But in doing so, we have to get back in tune with ourselves. Each man have to become a self entity in his own self where he create nothing but love, put out nothing but love. Get back to that single eye. You know, get away from this duality, this dual eye that we have of good and evil. Just let's just get back to good. You know, so we got to get our eyes back single and get back to loving one another and becoming our own Christ self if we wish to create a good rapport back with nature and get our ground from being cursed where we can get away from these bad afflictions and these you'll say these bad things that's happening to our world as a whole and nature. You know, God speaks plainly and straight up, and we notice that the things that's going on, like even with this pandemic, these people got all kind of different, absurd complexities with what they're teaching. They got a bunch of intellectual wording. These some word wizards. They come out here bringing you a bunch of Latin talk because they know we don't look up that stuff, and they talk all this so-called science jargon that's not really even science, and they twist it because most people don't even know about science. So they come to you, this. If you listen to them, they sound like I told you in a former show, like a bunch of parakeets. They're just repeating what they heard somebody else say, but none of them is really studying science for themselves. And if you listen to them, all they're saying is, this so-called coronavirus, SARS, and using all these complex Latin terminology to explain to common people about the sickness. Instead of just telling the people you've been eating bad, you've been drinking bad, you don't exercise, you don't get rest, you're living in fear, you're emotionally unbalanced when you go out here and live jealously and hate and have your emotions just out of whack. You don't have no control of your life. You're overworking. You're overindulging in other areas in your life. They don't talk plain to you. They talk viruses and bacterials and all type of other so-called word wizardry and superstitious talks and stuff like that about sicknesses and disease and other areas of life, not just even in natural aspects of life. But like I said, nature straight up, man. Nature tells you straight up what you're doing wrong, and common sense. You know that you're not exercising. You know that you're not eating right, and when your stomach start hurting, you thinking it's a bug because that's what the doctor told you, but you don't think it's the chicken sandwich you just ate with extra pickles and with mayonnaise and ketchup and mustard, all these different things that the stomach have to deal with. So you don't see common sense. Back in the days when you ate too many hot dogs, you threw up. But now you can eat 2 and 3 hot dogs without throwing up, but your stomach hurt now, and you're putting on extra weight. But you don't see the correlation, the connection there. So it's just common sense that if you eat bad, you're gonna gain weight and don't exercise. You're gonna gain weight. It's common sense. Now you go to the doctor, he might tell you got some type of gene that's causing you to, keep your weight on. He want to say there's some hereditary concept that's causing you not to lose weight or different things of this nature. He makes excuses for you where you can indulge in his medicines and his herbs and his supplements and all type of other remedies that you have to conveniently pay him for. He don't be straight up with you. Nature's straight up. I'm telling you. They use this wizardry and it compels us. And in the days, what we got going on now, even the elect, you know, can are being deceived. It said it's going to be a time, where it's going to be the tribulation period where man is going to be taken away with every type of wind. Every time they throw something on WTOC, we get, oh God, this is the end. Oh, the coronavirus. Oh, this, what you call it? This, jury trial. Oh, somebody killing somebody. All this stuff is just draining our energies and confusing us and keeping us distracted from our true purpose in life is to create harmony and love into the world. So it keep us hijacked, keep our spirits hijacked. And even the elect can be deceived in what's going on right now. Some people, the people who believe that God was the only power there is, now believe in power in other things. They don't even call on the power within anymore. It's calling on drugs, medicines, and we giving all our energy to these. We give all our freedom and everything to the government, all because we need them to protect us. We don't see our own power to protect ourselves. And that's what I wanted to share at the beginning here. I'm not going to stay up here long. I just wanted to get my talkings out now because I'm going to kind of be a little mute in a minute because we got a master teacher of relationships going on. Now, I teach health, and all day long I'll be talking about the body and how to heal it and restore it and stuff like that. But we got one that's about to come up here now that shows you how to do the same thing with relationships. If you got an issue, a disease going on in your household, if you got a disease going on amongst you and your wife, that disease called hatred or lust going on, or whatever it is, this master teacher, this love alchemist is about to come on. We about to put him in now, and y'all know him by Mr. Vaughn. How you doing, Mr. Vaughn?
There we go. Good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing excellent. I was telling them about these conditions that are beneficial in nature, about relationships, because we have to have a good relationship with nature, because if nature abort us, then what's going to happen? We're gone. So if we're not in good rapport with nature, nature will spit us off this earth because we need her. We need her sun. We need her air. We need her water. And, we need the ground upon which we walk, which she gives us. Right. So we have to have a good relationship with that. But that's in my talks. But I want to switch over to another situation that we're having in our community, is that we don't have relationships in our own home and in our own society. And I know you are a love alchemist, and that love is what we need in the world. That's the only thing that's going to, the Bible even said that it covers a multitude of sins. So we got to get back to loving one another, starting with ourselves. So we got to get a relationship with self. We got to get a relationship with those around us, and then we got to get a relationship, with those that are out and about. So I want you to, if you don't mind, sharing these conditions, even though I know they, you put a lot of emphasis on helping men and women relate with each other. But after over listening to your information, I noticed that your conditions not only help out, a relationship amongst a man and a woman, but it actually goes past that. Love has no bounds, in other words. So your teachings about the conditions of health, I want you to share it if you don't mind. Let's walk down these conditions of love. Matter of fact, before we start, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for always, answering the call when I asked you to be on these shows, because we had a great response from the last time you've been on the show. They were even asking about, hey, why the Love Doctor don't have a show, So, but we do know that you have your page, and possibly going to talk to our producer and see what we can do about getting your love speech out even more, because like I said, that's what we need today, more love. And we want to thank the viewers for, requesting you to come back up here and do another show with us. So we thank you so much before we even get started. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for
And
having me.
it's no problem. Let's introduce yourself to the people who don't know you yet. I've done as much as I can do of talking without using up all our time. I want people to hear your voice as well, because I told them I'm gonna be quiet a little bit when you start talking here.
Yeah.
So tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we're gonna go ahead and tell them about the conditions of love.
Okay. So a little bit about me. I so how I got started, I met my wife. It's classic fairy tale kind of love story, right? So I met my wife on the playground when I was 12 years old, and of course, I liked her. I liked her a lot. I had just moved to the neighborhood, and I liked her a lot. But she was a year older than I was, so she wasn't quite feeling me yet, because I was, in her mind, I think I might have been a little too young for her. You know how that is when you're that young. And but I kept pursuing, and so a couple years later, I was in high school. We started dating, and we got married. We got married immediately after graduating high school. So this year makes 31 years that we would have been married, or that we will be married. And but this journey started really because we started having children very young. I had, by the time I was 23, I think we had all four of our children. So now we have 4 children, 5 grandchildren. But along the way, people used to always see us and wonder how we were able to make it last and make it look good, make ourselves. How were we able to sustain such a high level of enjoyment in our marriage? And so I started teaching. I started sharing my information and helping other people. And I did that all throughout my time in the military. And so the more I shared my story, and the more I was helping others, the better my own marriage got. And the better my marriage got, the more I wanted to share. And so it's just kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. And so as I moved forward and I hit the 15-year mark and 20 and 25-year mark, people were encouraging me more and more that this story needs to be shared, and I need to be helping more people on a broader platform. And so that's pretty much how I ended up here.
So what I'm hearing is you were called to teaching this through your evolution of being yourself, your true self, brought on your teaching, in other words.
Yeah.
And you gain momentum through living in the teaching. That's how you gain momentum into coming into these conditions of love. And that's what you name your true teaching. That's like your concept is the conditions of love, or is that more or less the actual you'll say technique in helping people understand?
It's both, because so many of my clients, they initially come to me saying, what I really want is unconditional love. What I really need is unconditional love. I need somebody to love me unconditionally. And I say, well, if that's what you're looking for, I have a Doberman Pinscher, and she's going to be giving birth to some puppies soon. You can have one of those, because that's really the only place you're going to find unconditional love, unless you go back maybe to your mama or your daddy, or because people, even though we might be capable theoretically of loving each other unconditionally, the reality is it just doesn't play out that way.
At this moment in time, I feel you.
Yeah, it just doesn't play out that way. And so there are things that we can do to help cultivate that spirit of what we're calling love, because love isn't just what you feel, it's about what you do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and the compromises that you're willing to make. And so that's what those conditions are based on.
Repeat that for our listeners there. What is love? It's not just a feeling?
Yeah, listen, man, people, so many people get married because they love each other. But what they're talking about is, oh, I feel so strong about that person. Oh, I can't live my life without that person, because, oh, my heart just aches when that person is not around. Well, that's good. That part is, that helps. But love is much more than just feelings. Love is much more about what you're willing to do for that person, the sacrifices that you're willing to make for a person, and the compromises that you're willing to make. And the reason we know that the feelings aren't good enough, the reason that we know that getting married just for feelings of love, that it's not a good idea, is because the divorce rate is 50% at least. It always hovers right around 50%. And people are getting married every day because they love each other.
All right. So it sounds like a lot of them get, even some of them even just in it for the sex. Like the sex is what they love, and not even really, I'm willing to do for this person. I'm willing to build with this person and stuff like that. So I understand what you're saying when you say that they're not operating from a true, more rounded love instead of just that one side of the love, or just I got this feeling. I just got
Right.
this feeling in the inside. And if you notice, a lot of people spend more time and more energy and more money with the wedding
That's
instead
right.
of building a marriage. What we planning for the future and stuff like that.
Right.
So I know in these conditions of love, you talk about affection. Tell us more about this affection that you teach in your conditions of love,
Now,
because
so
this is one of the conditions, right?
right, right. So affection is, again, this goes back to the heartfelt sentiment, right? So it's feelings of fondness, and this, but it's coupled with actions, right? So it's where
Hmm.
there's feelings, there also has to be a corresponding action. This is what we're talking about when we talk about love. So it's touching, it's kissing, it's holding hands, and some people like to cuddle, some people are lovingly playful. My wife and I, we have a very playful relationship, and the conversation can be very playful as well as intense. So there's these heartfelt sentiments, but it's also met with corresponding action. Where if you're saying one thing but you're doing something opposite, that's where you get that inconsistency. And so that's where you find people who say I love you, but they mistreat you, and the two can't coexist. They're logically inconsistent, incongruent.
Let me ask you this: you got some people who don't know, that their wife like to be, have her back rub, and she don't know how to say, I need my back rub or something like that, because you probably made a statement. I don't like when people are making me rub their back or something in relationships or something like that. So, uh, you know, you might want to spend a weekend at a picnic, but you might say, "Hey, I don't like wasting time, at picnics and stuff like that." So, how do you like create tether yourself to a more healthier way to relate with the affection that one person need and the affection that another person need? I don't know if I'm explaining it
No,
easy for you to understand.
perfect, because your question actually goes right into the second condition of love, which is communication. So communication is, uh, again, now there's all kinds of ways to communicate. They say 90% of all communication is nonverbal. So we're communicating based on how we dress, how we sit, how we stand, our facial expressions. We're always communicating something. But the key to maintaining a strong, sound relationship, an intimate relationship, is effective, healthy communication. And so if there's something on your mind, if there's something on your heart, we have to have the courage to have those conversations. But it's more than just saying, man, you don't ever rub my back. That's not how you do it. If
Right.
you if you want your, like, I love having my back rubbed, and I tell my wife, man, your touch sure does feel good. And
Uh
and, and that positive reinforcement make her say, word, okay. And then she wants to go in and she want to do it more. You
All
see?
right.
And so and she loves my massages. And she'll say something like, man, that last massage you gave me, man, that curled my toes. I'm like, say less. I'm coming
Oh
back for
man.
another one. You see?
Oh man.
And so again, it's effective communication in the way that our mate likes to receive it. Now, here's another part about that. Some people are more sensitive than others. So even though I might think I'm being effective, even though I might be direct and precise, it has to be received in the way that I intended it to be received.
Okay.
Right? So if I say, hey, I like when you rub my back, but if I say it in a way that for whatever reason it might have ruffled her feathers, then I have to reconsider how I might send that message the next time. Because it's not just about me saying it and she should understand. It's also about making sure that the message is received the way I intended it to be received.
Right, right, right. So positive feedback, or making sure that you get the right feedback in that information.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can see where that plays a big part in there. So yeah, I had a lot of clients who would come to me and they would have, desires that they want from their mates, but they don't know how to, get them to do what they like to do. And it's not really getting them to do it, just allowing them to know their likes. And
Right.
so by them not getting their likes, they were trapped in a relationship that they were was not fulfilling.
Yeah. I've had so
So
many I've had so many clients that seem to benefit from having a mediator. And so I'm sitting here almost as an intercessory saying, okay, well, what she meant was this. Yeah, I know what you heard. I know what she said, but what she meant was this. And then the brother will say, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. Man, I
mm,
appreciate you saying that. And the same thing in return, the female ends up, the same thing in reverse, in other words. So oftentimes this is the benefit of coming to someone like myself, because oftentimes we're saying essentially the same thing to each other, but sometimes the communication, the cues, we're missing those important cues, and our relationships are failing because we're unable to make the connection, even though we want much of the same thing from each other.
so what I'm hearing is that rapport thing is a big thing. That's why you one of your conditions of love is communication.
Absolutely.
Being out of rapport with an individual, you can't see what they're saying. What they're doing and gain information from it. You can't hear what they're saying and gain any information. It sounds like that Charlie Brown teacher, womp womp womp, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I've had situations in my relationship. I've been like, well, that's not what I meant when I said that.
right, right,
Oh, how did you get that from what I said? That's not it. So, and then I've been in relationships where, I can say something and they receive it like that. And it was just like a harmonious balance going on.
right. And it's so easy to get offended too. And one of the things that I teach, this is a large part of communication, but there's some agreements that we have to make, not only with in the relationship, but agreements that we have to make within ourselves. And one of those agreements that I promote is take nothing personal, right?
Okay.
Take
Take nothing
nothing
personal.
personal. And the reason for that is, look, if I married this woman, or if you married that man, it's logical to conclude that you thought highly of them, that somewhere along the line in your mind, it was established that this person has my best interest at heart.
That's
Right.
right.
And so if they say something that I take offense to, I have to give her the benefit of the doubt, because I know she means well by me. She wants the best outcomes for me. She has my best interest at heart. So if she says something that ruffled my feathers, the chances are that I took it in a way that she didn't necessarily mean it. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm going to seek clarity. I'm going to
Right.
seek clarification on, okay, well, what did you mean by that? Right. Rather than saying, why the hell are you talking to me like that? We don't have to do that. Just because,
Right.
and even if she is saying something in a way that might be kind of slick, maybe she's having a bad day. Just because she's having a bad day doesn't mean that I have to have a bad day. So I can give her room to have her bad day without jumping down her throat and making her bad day worse.
Are you familiar with a pain body? We talked about that in a little psychology classes, a little bit about a pain body, where some people are the result of you'll say their upbringing. Like they react the way that they saw their mother react. They react the way they saw auntie react. They react the way were taught in school or watch their friends react. So it's like a pain body that
Yeah.
grows with you, and you're living the pain of those people that you witness their behavior from. So you react that same way too. You ever hear somebody say, well, you act just like your mama. You're doing the same thing that your mama doing.
Absolutely. These energy
So,
exchanges condition us.
right. So you have to also take that into account as well. I've noticed that in some relationships. I had to, I had to listen and reflect those pain bodies that was coming in those relationships as well. And so I didn't take it personal, in other words. That's
Right.
just their pain body.
Right.
That's why I related so much to when you say don't take it personal, because they're just a creature of that pain body.
Yeah. How can I take your pain personal?
Mm, that's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Right. It doesn't make sense. Right.
Yeah. So let's go into, we know the communication is, we hear that a lot, and we know a lot of people don't know how to properly communicate. with one another. But those even who communicate, they got to have what you call compassion.
Right. Listen, compassion is a simple way of saying I am because we are. Now that's an African proverb. It's called Ubuntu. I am because we are. That means that
say it again for him. Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Ubuntu.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's an African proverb that says I am because we are. So that means my wife doesn't have a problem that I don't also have. Whatever's bothering her is bothering me. Whatever's bothering me is bothering her. You see, and that way we keep our eye on the ball. So that means if a problem arises, then the problem becomes the problem, not her, not me. The problem is the problem. And so as long as we join together and focus on the problem being the problem, it's easier to resolve that and grow past that. Here's another way.
Break that down for us, because that probably flew over a lot of people's head, because I just got a whiff of it, and it, I hear it, and I'm hearing that it's like, get yourself out of this, and we're going to tackle this demon that came in our house or something like that. So break that down a little bit for us.
Yeah. See, so look, I love African proverbs. Here's another one that says, where there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm.
No harm, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I apply that to our marriage. And so if we don't have an enemy inside of our marriage, then no weapon formed against us can prosper.
That's right.
Right. So let's say, for instance, my wife comes to me and she says she has a problem with an interaction that I might be having with a female.
Mm-hmm.
It can be completely innocent, but my wife, for whatever reason, has a problem with the interaction. If that's the case, then there are a lot of guys who will say, well, that's your problem. You got jealousy issues. You're insecure. That right. You got to figure that out. I'm not doing anything wrong. You figure that out. But I'm saying that's not the way. My way is, if she has a problem, then I also have a problem.
That's right.
Because either way is going to manifest in our relating to one another, because now she has tension toward me because I'm not handling it in a way that makes our environment, makes our relating more comfortable. Right. So then we gotta discuss this thing and figure out how we can come to a level of resolve that allows us to move past that conflict in a healthy way. Look, conflict is inevitable. Combat is optional.
Now you have it where some people would want to ask you, like, what if it's a situation where, this female is actually helping you, create something for the family, something that is very beneficial. It's just that y'all have to spend a lot of time. Say that that's a female boss and y'all have to be, working on weekends and, being in the office a little late or something like that. Like, what would you what kind of talk can you have with your wife about something like that to, overcome that pain body that she's suffering with?
Yeah. So again, this is where the healthy and effective communication comes in. This is where transparency comes in, and doing my best to make my wife feel comfortable about the situation. So if first I have to determine, is this work relationship necessary, or is this something that I'm doing as a hobby? Sometimes we do things just because in the spur of the moment we feel like, man, this might be a great idea. But if this idea is undermining my relationship at home, right, then I have to decide how much value I should put on this newfound relationship, this working relationship. And is there a way, maybe can my wife, if it brings peace to my home, maybe my wife can come along and be there with us and contribute to the effort. Again, if my wife has a problem, I have a problem, we can talk about it. Maybe we can come to some level of resolution, because if we keep our mind focused on the problem being the problem rather than me being the problem because I have this working relationship, then I think we can get a lot further than just what it ends up oftentimes being is just some name calling, or you don't care, or I don't trust you, and slinging mud basically.
So it sounds like y'all compliment each other. Yeah. And that's kind of gets us to your next condition of love, this compliment that y'all have for one another.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So the next condition is complementarity. And so complementarity is a principle that speaks to two differently qualified yet intimately interacting beings, forces, or things that diligently and continuously work toward a healthy, holistic balance.
All right, now put that for my kids can understand that.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so that's a way of saying, look, hot water is no more important than cold water.
okay,
Right? East is no more important than west.
that's
Up
right.
is no more important than down. But all of these opposites are necessary to create balance, and they work together to provide us a healthy direction for the relationship. My wife can do things that I simply cannot do. So there's no need in me getting jealous about her being able to do things that I can't do. Look, that's a win for the team if she's able to do things that I can't do.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to assist her to the best of my ability, because ultimately, if she wins, we win. Because we are, right? And then vice versa. Look, we used to go on when we first got married. I'm 18, 19 years old, and we have a small car. Escort GT was our first car.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know, it's a compact car, so the trunk was pretty small. And I'm the man, though, right? I'm the man, so right. I'm going to make sure that we get this car on the road, get everything packed in nice and tight, and so we can get on the road. And I would be trying to put things in the trunk, but it would be awkward and lumpy, and I was never able to do it in a way that was nice and tidy and neat. But my wife would come out there and she would say, you know, there's a better way to do that. And the first time she would say it, I'd be like, nah, this is about as good as it gets. Let's just get in the car and let's just go. She'd say, no, I'm telling you, there's a better way to do that. Woman, how you gonna tell me? You know, now the ego is messing with me, right?
That's right.
How you gonna do it better than me? Look, I ain't no way you smarter than I am, and etc. My ego is taking over. This is
That's right. That's how the ego do.
18, 19-year-old version of myself. And finally, she said, if you just let me give it a shot, maybe we can make it a little bit better. I said, all right, fine. If you got it, you show me what you can do. Man, she pulled all that stuff out. Well, she had me pull all the stuff out.
That's
so
right.
I pulled all the stuff out of the trunk, and I was placing it where she was telling me to place it. And it was like she was playing Tetris, right? All those blocks were just fitting in nice and tight and perfectly. And by the time that trunk was done being packed, I mean, we had more room to spare than I thought we were going to have. So everything fit comfortably, and we had room for even more stuff. So what I'm saying is that was a talent. That's a natural talent that even to this day, she just does better than I do. She has a greater sense of spatial awareness and product placement than I think I'll ever have. I think it's just a gift that she has. So the point that I'm making is, maybe she doesn't have the muscles to put these big, heavy objects in a place that I might have. So I'll bring my necessary part of the equation to our table, and she can bring her necessary genius in this particular aspect of our lives. So it doesn't necessarily mean that she's smarter overall than I am, although she could be, and I still wouldn't care. But the point is, I respect what she brings to the table. She respects what I bring to the table, and it's a win for the team rather than me being jealous because she's better at this than I am, or vice versa.
So what I'm hearing is, you can either hinder a relationship or make a relationship grow by allowing each individual to express their talents into the relationship. Exactly. Almost like a symbiotic relationship.
Man, that's the word right there. Symbiotic. I need to add that to my.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. You know, each one working together for the whole. You know, each person. You know, the flower don't get mad at the bee because the bee is going to spread the pollen. But in doing so, would it give it nectar and stuff like that, where you can come and spread the pollen? But in doing so, by spreading pollen, I'm going to grow next year.
That's
so
right.
It's a symbiotic relationship. I'm going to give you a little bit to go and do some work for me. And if you do this work, you will have food for next year. So it's just a relationship going on here.
Listen, there's a reason that in the wild, the lionesses do the killing. They do the hunting, they do the killing, but the lions eat first, right? Now, if you've ever watched Animal Planet, I'm letting y'all in on a little secret. That's where I get most of my relationship insights from, right?
Right. Nature. That's what I'm talking about. Nature.
Nobody does it better than nature. So the lionesses, they go out here, they do all of the strategizing. It's 5, 6 lionesses. They go out here and they make the kill, and they tussle, they get hurt sometimes. And after they get the kill secured, the male lion comes in and he eats first. It's not because the male lion is more important, right? It's not because his role is any greater than her role.
Right.
What it is, though, it's the same reason that daddy gets the big piece of chicken. Right? It's the same reason that even though my wife is very well taken care of, she may come in here any minute now and say, "Are you hungry? You want a sandwich?" The reason is that the male has to be well fed, well nourished, well taken care of, so that he can provide the protection for the pride, for the family, that the female typically is not suited to do. Right. So, and again, it's that symbiotic relationship, because the male needs the female, because who else is going to carry his genes, his seed into the next generation? He can't do it without her. So he has to provide that level of protection for her, that level of security for her, so that she's comfortable enough and healthy enough to go out and do her best effort to bring in what it is that she brings to the table.
That makes a lot of sense, brother. So each one of us got to do what? We got to compromise with each other. It sounds like each one of your conditions just flow into each other.
They do, man. And it's by design, because listen, the relationship is supposed to flow, right? The relationship is supposed to flow. So compromise, so many people have a misunderstanding about what compromise is. They think that, well, I'm not compromising because I'm not losing. I'm tired of losing. Compromise is not about losing. Compromise is about deciding that the other person has just as much right to be happy about the outcome as you do.
I see where you're coming from.
Win-win, right? Sometimes, right. Look, I might want to go watch, the Super Friends tonight, the Avengers or something, and she might want to watch, I don't know, Young and the Restless. I don't know, whatever. We may want to watch different things. Or here's a better example. We might come into the house and decide that it's 72 degrees in our house. And she may say, "Boy, it sure is cold in here." And I may say, "Wow, it sure is warm in here." Right? We're both right.
I had the same issue the other night. And my wife up here looking right now, and she'll laugh if she hear this, because the other night we was in the car and she wanted the window down and I was cold and I needed the heater on. So, I mean, we had to compromise some type of way. But I put on some more clothes.
That's it. That's exactly where I was going with that. So we got to decide, what is it that we can do to affect the outcome, right? So can I put on more clothes, or since I'm hot, maybe I can take off my overshirt and maybe just put on a tank top, or maybe she can put on some flannel pajamas or something. Like, there's a way to work this out, and while focusing on the problem being the problem, rather than you stupid because you think it's cold, or you stupid because you think it's hot. And now we have a conflict where I become the problem rather than the problem being the problem.
It's all about taking responsibility. If you take responsibility into making the relationship work, you'll notice what you like about a situation, and you'll do like how you said. You instead of throwing out you say darts at each other and start fussing, you'll work on just solving the issue real quick. Yeah, a bump came in the road. No, we don't have to ride over the bump. It's space around us. We can go around this really quick. It's still road ahead of us.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. So compromise is a great thing. And, once you have all this, communication going on, you got all this compassion going on, you compliment each other, you compromise and stuff like that. If you lack intimacy, what would happen in the relationship, brother?
Look, intimacy, most people confuse intimacy with sex.
There you go. You got me on that one. And a lot of other people probably were saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
You can't have sex without being intimate, but you can have intimacy without having sex. Let me say it again. You cannot have sex without being intimate, but you can be intimate without having sex. See, intimacy is another way, particularly in a close relationship. Intimacy is another way of saying into me, see. So I'm giving my wife, or she's giving me, a deeper look, a personal look into her deepest feelings and thoughts and maybe even fears. And
All right, say that again, though. Say that again. Intimacy.
into me,
Intimacy.
right?
See
Into
in me.
me, see in me, right? And so, in this sharing of concerns, feelings, fragilities, right, frailties, it's like giving someone the ammunition to hurt you, but trusting that they won't.
Ah.
So intimacy provides this level of closeness in a relationship that this is where most couples fall off, to be honest with you. Because look, having a relationship without making a healthy, intimate connection is like having a Ferrari in your driveway, but all you do is 55 miles per hour.
Ah.
Right. You have this exhilarating machine that's capable of doing 200 plus miles per hour, but you're never able to take advantage because you never get in tune with what the machine's capabilities really are. And this is what intimacy provides to a relationship. It's the key to allow your relationship to get to the next level.
Man, if y'all are not listening to our love alchemist, man, you should have a paper and pen. I should have forewarned you he was coming up here. We were planning this show for a couple of days now, but you should definitely get you a paper and pen, or just contact our love alchemist, and he can go over these conditions of love with you. Tell them how to get in touch with you, Mr. Vaughn, the
You
love
can
alchemist.
Yeah, you can email me at info@conditionsoflove.com. Info@conditionsoflove.com. My website is theconditionsoflove.com. You can also follow me here on Facebook and Instagram at Von_the Love Alchemist. Well, actually on Instagram, it's Von_the Love Alchemist. On Facebook, it's just Von Says or The Love Alchemist.
All right, Vaughn Says, y'all need to make sure that y'all like and follow him on Facebook. You said on what's the other platform? YouTube,
Facebook, Instagram,
Instagram.
right. And
All
I
right.
do have a YouTube page, but I haven't been very active on there. I got to get back on there and start doing some more stuff because,
Hey, I know it's a lot going on. I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah.
So let's talk about thoughtfulness. We got like 10 minutes left, and I know you had a couple of more conditions you want to share with the people. So let's talk about thoughtfulness a little bit.
So thoughtfulness is really as simple as it sounds. It's really just consideration for the needs and desires of each other. So here's one way we can be thoughtful. My wife likes flowers. I don't like flowers. I don't care about flowers, but my wife likes flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like chocolate, right? I love chocolate. So in my mind, I could say, boy, my wife, this would be really nice if I bought my wife some chocolates. Well, I can get her those chocolates and she'll appreciate the fact that I went out of my way to make that gesture, but it doesn't hit home the way that I would have liked for it to hit home because she doesn't really like chocolate. She likes flowers, right? And so if I really want to make the impression on her that hits that sweet spot, I buy her flowers because I know that that's what she likes rather than getting her what it is that I want her to have.
Yeah, it sounds like me, for example, me coming home with some pots and pans and some grits and eggs and talking about, here, baby, I brought this for you.
Right.
Yeah, so go ahead there and cook up this grits and bacon and eggs and stuff for me and stuff.
It's as much as anything else, it's about loving someone the way they need to be loved, the way they want to be loved, rather than loving them the way that we want to love them.
Got you. And then, so that's followed down with respect, right, for one another.
Yeah. So everybody knows what respect is, right? I mean, it's just thoughts and feelings and even actions that display a sincere admiration and appreciation of each other, of each other's abilities, qualities, achievements. So if my wife were to be working on her doctorate degree and, she finally gets that doctorate degree, I say, well, anybody could have did that. That ain't nothing special. That's look, she just put in all this blood, sweat, and tears, and I just disrespected the whole effort. Right. So it's just a genuine level of, again, like I said, just respect, right? Just a genuine level of admiration and appreciation for what it is that they're able to accomplish.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
here's another thing about respect too. I think oftentimes people get it twisted and they think that, well, just because I'm not disrespecting you, that means I'm respecting you.
Okay.
Or just because I don't think you saw it or I don't think you heard it, means that it's not as much of an insult. But how you represent me when I'm not around is equally important, maybe even more important than how you represent me when I'm around. Because look, if you show me in my face that we're all lovey-dovey and you making me think it's all good, but I'm hearing through the grapevine that you got a boyfriend, or maybe you saying some things about me that I don't appreciate, and this is getting back to me, that's worse than you saying it directly to my face. Right. So how you represent someone when they're not around is just as important, as just as key in the factor of respect as anything else.
Yeah, you can deal with it a little better if they calling you a bum joker right to your face, but if they round spreading it all around town, yeah, that'd be a little, I guess, a little harder on you. Let's
Yeah.
talk
Look,
about trust then.
let,
Trusting with the other individual,
let,
the
let,
other individual.
let me jump on this one point real quick. There was a woman whose wealthy husband just died recently. And when he died, she let out this information that he had a real small penis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all these years they were married, and she never let the cat out the bag, so to speak. But when he died, she talked about how she had to pleasure herself during sex. She had to, help him basically to pleasure her because his penis was so small.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's twofold, because one, she could have really soiled his name while he was alive, and that would have gotten back to him and it would have undermined the whole relationship. But I think just as bad it was disrespectful for her to ever even make that known, even after he died, because now you're throwing dirt on the man's name. So it's still disrespectful, even though he's not here. You're throwing dirt on his legacy. You're throwing dirt on his name. You have children, and now they're hearing him. You see, so again, respect it goes much deeper than what you say to my face.
I understand. We had some people saying good work. You giving out some great knowledge. We want to thank those people, who's tuned in and who's been tuning in and following us. And we want to encourage them to go to your site, get in touch with you if they're having issues in their life and want to learn better ways to communicate. We have people around in our community that can help you. Go to info@theconditionsoflove.com and get in touch with Mr. Love Alchemy,
Word.
the Love Alchemist,
Word.
Mr. Vaughn. I'm telling you, he's highly effective. I've learned a lot from him in the book that he put out that I've utilized with some other individuals. It helped them correct their issues as well. We use it in our practice. That's how powerful his conditions of love are. We use them in helping our clients overcome their issues that they're suffering from, in their relationship. So I would encourage all my listeners, if you want to you don't even have to be really suffering in your relationship. If you just want to know some conditions to carry your relationship even higher, I would suggest that you get in touch with them. So let's talk about the trust a little bit. I know you got two more, and we're kind of beating for time here.
Yeah.
That's why I probably should have
No worries, man.
been a
No
little
worries.
more quiet at the beginning.
We can get through them real quick. So trust is really just belief and confidence in each other, right? So again, that goes back to, I can give my wife all the ammunition in the world to harm me. She's got my social security number. She's got access to all my credit, all my money, but I believe and I have confidence that she won't use it against me. That's all trust is.
Okay.
But again, I don't mean to minimize that. That's a major issue that a lot of relationships fail because of. And then
How so?
Well, look, if you don't have trust in each other, that alone can undermine a relationship. If I don't trust you, then I don't allow you to have access to my accounts. I don't allow you to have access to my phone. And then if I don't allow you to have access, if you can't see what's in my phone, for instance, if I got this security code on my phone, and now you're wondering, okay, well, if I can't trust you, then maybe now I'm not going to make it where you can trust me. You see, if I don't trust you, then I'm going to move different. You see, and so it just that lack of trust, it can undermine the fabric of what it means to establish a healthy relationship.
So simple things as those, secretive things right there bring about the, lack of trust in relationship.
Whole nother conversation, but yeah. Look, I don't have anything that my wife does not have access to. A woman can text me right now, no matter who she is, and I might even, if I can't get to my phone, I might say, "Hey, baby, answer that for me," and then
what you do what?
She can read my text messages to me. She can answer my phone for me. It's not a problem because I don't have anything to hide. It's transparency. I'm hot right now, and the ladies love me. I know they do, but I ain't got nothing for them.
That's right. So her trust is solid in you because you put out that solidity out of yourself. That's what you portray to be an upright person, where you deserve that trust from her. Right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. More important than deserving it, I earned it.
Mm.
You see, so as long as I keep feeding into what it is that makes her feel comfortable, then it allows her to relax what might otherwise be having her guard up, right? There is no guard. I can do anything. I can say anything. I can go anywhere, really. I could even be in a place where other women are, and she really has no concern, but that's my credit. My credit history is good. My credit history with her is sound. So whenever she checks my credit, I'm coming back with 800 plus. But here's the thing, though. It's not just a matter of having that trust. It's also wherever I go, if there are going to be women around, I bring my wife with me. I don't even need to tempt the waters or test the waters. I bring her with me for a couple different reasons. One, can't nobody lie on me and said I did or said anything out of line.
That's right.
One. And the second thing is I'm reassuring, I'm always refortifying that faith that she has in me.
Oh, wow, man. You said a mouthful right there, man. That's what holds everything together when everyone is it's like that's that compliment thing again. We compliment each other. You know what I mean? Like I said, all this kind of pretty much flow together. It's like they're different words and different parts of the body, but they still bring about a whole body. In other words, it's like you just gave me the leg, the ear, the eyes. None of them can be apart from each other, right. But together they all, make this body.
That's right. Addition needs subtraction. Multiplication needs division.
Yes. So, our viewers, they love hearing everything that you're saying. Matter of fact, we're getting a lot of comments say we even need a part 2 to this thing.
Let's do it, man.
A part 3 and a part 4 and a part 5. I want to hear so much information that you have that, in building relationships, because our world need more love. We can sit here and eat all the fruits and vegetables we want, but if our heart is full of hatred, and our actions are full of hatred, we're still going to suffer high blood pressure. We're still going to suffer diseases in our life, and in our world, So I don't care how much we exercise and how much we, bathe in the sun and breathe fresh air. If we don't have love for one another, like the psalmist said in the Bible, we're just like sounding brass. We're just making noise and doing nothing. Like my granddad used to say, he said, you're firing your Uzi, ain't hitting nothing. You're just wasting a bunch of bullets. You know what I mean?
Being consumed with hatred is like drinking poison and hoping that somebody else gets sick.
You see what our poster said? Stay tuned to his and her perspective. You see how our producers are putting you out there.
Yeah. Hey, look, let me drop this plug too. Every Sunday at 5 p.m. the His and Her Perspective show right here on Facebook and on YouTube. So until we join ATR Media, which is real soon here within a couple weeks, I think, 2-3 weeks. But until then, you can catch the His and Her Perspective show right here on Facebook Live. That's with me and my co-host, Coach Michelle Monet.
Oh, wow. Okay. And definitely tell your wife, hey, we thank her so much for allowing us to utilize the knowledge from you and her that y'all have put together. We appreciate you bringing that information that y'all have put together. And we want to ask you to continuously be you, and live on purpose, you and her.
Thank you,
Because
sir.
y'all changing a lot of people's lives. I know today up here, you have awakened a lot of people up to how they can be more, relatable in their relationships. And now, at the beginning of this, I was talking about relationship with nature, and we still gotta have those conditions even with nature to, show affection for her, love everything. Look at how we treat the animals, how we treat the land that we walk on, how we treat our air, stop poisoning it with these air pollutants and different stuff of that nature. So we got to communicate with nature. We got to be compassionate with it. We have to compliment nature, not destroy it and live as though we the king of nature. We have to have an intimate bond with nature, and compromise with her. We know we can't just pollute the air all up and think that we're going to breathe fresh oxygen. We got to be thoughtful about how we live up there.
It's supposed to be a cooperative relationship, just like you explained with the bee and the flower. It's a cooperative relationship. The bee needs the flower needs the bee.
Right. So I want you to hit home with this, because that's why I really wanted to bring these conditions of love about, because love, it really have no bound, in other words. That's what I told you at the beginning. The stuff that you're teaching, even though I know you got it toward his or her perspective and stuff, but this love that you're teaching, brother, it goes beyond, every boundary there is. What you're teaching, you can put it to anything, and it will explain
we are
how
a people
to overcome.
We are a people of love, right? And the very foundation, the cornerstone in the brick of what we're calling our community is a healthy relationship between our males and our females. That is the very cornerstone, the very fabric of what it means to have a community. If we don't at least have that, this is what we're struggling with the most, just healthy relationships between our males and our females. Without that, we'll never have a community that thrives, because that is, again, you have the male and the female. That's the initial relationship, which spawns into a family and produces children. And then that family spawns into a community.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Otherwise, we got a lot of random stuff happening, and which is really a lot, unfortunately, of what we have right now.
Yeah, we look at that as ecology and catalysm, how it starts from the individual, and as we live as we grow up in that statue, like you saying, from us, a couple, then a family, then a community, all what we're doing bring about our society and our universe. So it starts with every individual man, and the purpose and the thing that that sparks us all is love, that love spark. If we allow that love spark to ignite in our body, mind, and spirits, it will manifest itself fully into the world that we live in. So love projected from us will project on the screen of life. But if life in the world we're living in is not getting this projection of love, then obviously we're not projecting it. Our screen is broke. Our the little projector that's supposed to be putting out our picture is a little distorted.
Yeah.
So I want you to cap our show for the day, and let them know how to get in touch with you. Again, I'm so glad having you up here. We always have a dynamic show when we come together, and I'm glad I ran into you through our friends back in the days and met you, and we shared a lot of great times together, and I'm sure we got a lot more to go. So I'm so happy and so excited about all the information that you got and how it can help me get along in my life, because like I said, I've learned a lot, and I've used a lot of your information not only for my clients but also for myself, and I thank you so much for you putting your time into the effort, you and your wife writing that book and doing the things that y'all doing to help individuals overcome their relationship hurdles and different things like that in life. And like I said, I even share it with my other aspects of my life as well. So it made a big, huge difference in my life. And I thank you for that. You know, if no one else have told you thank you, I know a lot of people have, because I know you've done a lot for them, but I really do thank you for all that you're doing. And I ask you to keep up doing this work. And I guarantee you, even if you don't build up treasures here on earth for it, I already know you got a mansion in heaven already waiting, brother.
I appreciate your appreciation, brother. I appreciate your appreciation.
So give us a cap off the conditions of love for my viewers before they get off.
So the cap is understanding, right? Look, listen, there's so much misunderstanding going on. People even misunderstand what it means to be. There's this term right now called alpha males. People putting out alpha male. Oh, I'm an alpha male. I'm an alpha female. Listen, I don't even use those terms as much in relationships, but I will say this about that. If you have not yet discovered how to relate harmoniously with a member of the opposite sex, if you have not yet discovered how to find cooperation with a member of the opposite sex, then it's impossible for you to apply a term like alpha male or alpha female to you, because the very definition of an alpha male means that he has found cooperation with the female. The very definition of the alpha female is that she found cooperation with males. There is no such thing as just because I make a lot of money, I'm an alpha. You understand what I'm saying? These are building blocks. And so there's so many misunderstandings. And so I say everybody wants to be understood, right? Everybody looks for understanding. But in a relationship, I say seek first to understand, and then second to be understood. Seek first to understand, and then second to be understood. If I put my effort into understanding where my wife is coming from, what is bothering her, what complaints she has, what gripes, what's paining her. If I put all my effort into understanding her, never mind whether she understands me right now, I'm going to put all my energy into understanding where she's coming from. There's no way that I'm not going to be able to connect and relate, because that's where thought flows, energy goes.
That's right.
And now let's just say hypothetically that she does the same thing for me. She's going to put all her desires to be understood aside and focus on understanding me. Can you imagine how much power there is?
I can.
Man, I mean, so the sky's the limit in that type of relationship where we're putting the relationship first, not self. Again, there's always some selfishness involved. It's the first law of nature is self-preservation, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm still saying my effort is toward understanding everything that my wife has for me to understand, and vice versa. I think she understands me better than I do her. So
we can even look at that self-preservation being now the family is a self-preservation unit. So its purpose, its first law of the family is to self-preserve the family.
It is.
That's when you take that ego out of the way. Like how you say you release that ego, and now you become a family ego. You build a family ego of self-preservation.
Much of what's driving the conflict in relationships right now, at least part of it, is that there are a lot of men who feel like we have these inordinately high sex drives. And so we think we need multiple women, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what they used to do 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, that's a different conversation for a different time. But right now, that creates conflict, right? And I'm saying that the reason for sex, the primal reason for sex, is to produce life. Enjoyment of sex is a byproduct, right? Sex is sweet. I mean, sex is good for the same reason that fruit is sweet. It's to ensure the survival of our species.
That's right.
Right. So now, if the primary reason for that urge is to produce life, then the second most natural thing to do is to preserve that life, protect that life, and provide for that life. Right. And so it's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, there is no more, and we can't say that men are more important. There's no more important job on the planet than carrying that seed and bringing it to full term and nurturing it to fruition. Yeah. That's the mother's job. A man can't do that. We can't just say for 9 months and then nurture that baby from 0 to 3 via breastfeeding. Now, man has created all kinds of synthetic formulas, but that stuff doesn't make your baby healthy. That breast milk, there's nothing like breast milk. So again, that the role that the woman provides for the child is unparalleled. Now, I'm not saying she's more important. I'm saying she's at very least equally important.
That's right. It's like they said, it's a man's world, right?
But it wouldn't be a damn thing
without a woman's touch. That's right, brother. That's right. Well, I thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and shut us down for the day. We got Alicia Blakely show coming up next. Right. We can't wait to bring you on in, brother, and let you, teach our viewers about the ways and the conditions of love. So we thank you so much, and you have a great week, a great month. Until we meet again, face to face, or here on the internet, much love, and we wish you well, and we thank you so much for all that you do again.
Thanks.
I don't know how much to say it, but we just thank you, brother.
Good, man. Again, I appreciate your appreciation. Thank you for having me on the show. Looking forward to the next time we can do it. This was fun, man. Love you. All right.
Peace. Take care, brother. We want to thank everyone who's been a part of this cast with us up here, listening to our brother Vaughn Says. Like you said, definitely go to him and learn information from him. If we put up a guy who tell you that he can sign you up for a stimulus check, everyone would be commenting right now. How can we get in touch with him? How can we go by his house and get the stimulus check signed up? But here it is. We got a guy who can help you overcome conditions in your relationships. If you're lacking love in your relationship, these are the conditions of love. So we ask you to, when ATR is bringing you these shows about how to overcome trials and tribulations in your society and environment, listen to them and come and seek the information and receive it. Because we're using plain words. No one is coming to you with trickery. No one is using Latin talk. If you look at the other shows, they're talking to you like they would talk to you at a cookout, at a barbecue. We're sitting here talking to you with common words. We're not using scientific books with all type of jargon and like I said, Latin terminology and stuff like that. We're talking plain. You got to eat right. You got to drink right. You got to live a healthy lifestyle if you wish to have health. So with that, come see us next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Best of Health and Happiness from Savannah Natural Health and Natural as Health. Stay tuned for next week, Tuesday at 6. Best of Health.